Summer for the introduction, and it's not a part of my lifestyle. I'll just leave it at there. But thanks for having me here today. I wanted to say thank you to CBUS Retail for giving me the opportunity to share Green Growth brand story with you today. And just to set the record straight, there are no swag bags of product available. It is illegal recreationally, and CBD is illegal, so if you have an issue, talk to your local representative. Last August, we were at a CBUS Retail sponsored event down the road at Smith Brothers, and it gave us an opportunity to share with a pretty big group of people what the GGB concept was and what our vision was and what we set out to do. So today what I wanted was to share what we've done since then, how we've done it, and a little look forward to what we're doing. So I'm old school. I wrote my notes on my slideshow. So when we go out and start talking about our company, we always say, it's led by a retail veterans, and we're focused on creating a new benchmark in both cannabis and CBD. And from a lot of the patterning we've done, we see a big opportunity to differentiate ourselves from what's happening right now in the world, and it's going to change very quickly over the next couple of years. So we were founded in March 2018, and we saw the opportunity in cannabis. CBD came later in the fall as an opportunity just by happenstance. So we set out to focus on getting the talent we needed hired in retail, and subsequent to that, CPG talent related to the CBD product, because it's a personal care product, and there's an abundance of CPG talent in town. We knew we wanted to have a focus on speed to market. Anyone who's been in L Brands businesses knows that that's a focus of that business model, is how quickly can you go from idea to getting it in front of the customer, see what happens, read, react, and adjust accordingly. And I think we've got that built in our DNA. But knowing that there's a ton of regulatory issues and compliances that we'd have to focus on. So when we set out, we wanted to focus on customers, brands, and products. We did not want to focus on cannabis consumers, cannabis brands, and cannabis products. We wanted to make first the emotional connection with the customer, a remarkable experience in our stores and the web, and then we'll focus on the brands and the products in the stores. A lot of the patterning we've done, and I think the teams have been to 120, 150 dispensaries across the country. We didn't see anyone focusing on the consumer, and we think we're pretty good at focusing on the consumer, and we have a pretty good track record of doing that. So since March 2018, we're operating 2 cannabis dispensaries in Las Vegas. Each of those stores is on track this year to do about $19 million, and they're in about 1,200 selling square feet. We have 10 licenses right now, 7 to open new stores, 7 in Nevada, 3 in Massachusetts, and just yesterday we announced a definitive agreement to acquire a Florida license that allows us to open up to 35 dispensaries. Florida is medical cannabis only right now, but we see a pathway to recreation within a few years. And that's what we've seen, is that states that go medical, it's 2 to 3 years, and they're typically voting on recreation in those states. I think they like the tax dollars that come from it. We have 50 CBD kiosks, we call them shops, and we'll have 50 within the next 2 weeks. We have 42 as of this morning. We'll be at 100 sometime in mid-July, and we'll end the year with 280 CBD shops. So we went from 0 in January, opened up our first kiosk in our e-commerce site February 7th, and we'll end the year at 280 kiosks. So that's a speed-to-market concept that we're very proud of getting after. You've probably read some of the press articles, but we have a partnership with DSW and Abercrombie & Fitch to put some of our 7-cent CBD topical products in their stores. We had done a test with DSW in 10 stores last August, September, and the consumer response to the product gave us a lot of confidence that it was a viable concept and we tried to get after that as fast as we can. So we went from October, we got after it in a big way, and 4 months later, we had our first shop in Fayette Mall in Kentucky, and our website opened. So that's another example of speed to market. We've gone public. We've raised over $130 million, and as I said, we launched our e-com site. So today, this was a couple hours ago, our stock, U.S. trading was $2.60 with a market cap of $500 million. So not bad for just over a year of experience. I joined in July of 18, and I was the 12th associate at GGB. By the end of December, we are up to about 45 associates. We are at 115 today, and then we'll be at 135 very soon. And then on top of that, you have to add in all the consulting and contract support that we have in the business. And I think a key to what we are able to achieve on the slide here is that we're based in Columbus, Ohio. It just has an extraordinary talent pool in retail, marketing, creative, logistics, et cetera. And we needed expertise fast. So we built that expertise by hiring people onto our team, and we had a lot of support from businesses in Columbus to provide consulting services. And those groups, it was really interesting, as we'd start to engage with these guys, we'd have a problem we'd need to solve, and they have an incredible network of individuals and businesses that they work with on a regular basis. So they'd introduce us to these teams, and we were able to leverage it and move at a lot faster rate. So being in Columbus accelerated our growth just from the talent pool that we have on the team. So this next slide, these are some of the local partnerships that we really value. They've done a lot of work for us. Some of them started back in March. Some came on board end of the summer. A few came on board towards the end of the fall season as we realized what the business needs were that we had to get after. So it was a really unique opportunity to assemble a talent base on our team, whether it was internal or supported with external partners, that allowed us to get through all the rapid changes and development we had in place to achieve and realize our business goals. So this is just a chart that shows the growth trajectory of our Columbus home office. We also have about 250 people on the team in Nevada. We have 250 to 300 field associates who are running the kiosks that we have in place, store managers, district managers, a regional manager. And so we see a lot of growth, not just in Columbus, but outside of Columbus. So all of this allowed us to get after it with a high sense of urgency. In the office, we always talk about 2 degrees of separation. And I know somebody that I've worked with, trust, know their skill sets, so I hire them on the team. They know somebody who can fill an opening that we have, and because I trust that individual, so our hiring happened pretty quickly. And that 2 degrees of separation, we have a very high level of trust in the organization. It's an open office environment, so there are 115 of us in about 10,000 square feet, so everybody gets to know their neighbor really well, but it leads to collaboration, and what I've seen is that we get to decision making a lot faster than maybe a traditional office would look like, and we do have to make decisions pretty rapidly in the business. Some fun stats that someone shared with me a couple of days ago, Columbus is #1 among large U.S. metros for concentration of apparel retail headquarters. No surprise to people in the room. Columbus has the 3rd highest concentration of design talent in the nation, behind LA and New York. And Columbus is #1 on Forbes' top 10 rising cities for startups. So I think all of that kind of coming together, really set the stage for us to get off to a pretty quick start in the business. So when we meet with investors, we always highlight 3 key differentiating factors. We're the only merchant-led cannabis CBD business. And yes, that means Peter Horvath sees himself as a merchant. There might be some debate in the room, but that's how he's positioned himself. We have a diversified model between THC and CBD, and we have strategic investors that provide us access to business opportunities and access to capital. So those are really important to us, but the investment community really values those three differentiating factors, and I think we're starting to live up to that and be able to demonstrate what we're doing and where we're going. So on the left side of this slide, MSOs stands for multi-state operators. It's industry lingo for cannabis dispensary owners who are in multiple states. And on the right side is CBD, the personal care. CBD is cannabidiol, which is extracted from hemp, and per the Farm Act of 2018, has to have less than 0.3% THC for it to pass. So on the left side, MSOs, very capital intensive. Takes a lot of money to buy licenses or acquire existing dispensaries. It has high EBITDA. However, the funds are constrained in the state. So all the cash we generate in Nevada has to stay in the state of Nevada. And we'll use that money to reinvest in the business as part of opening up those other 7 dispensaries. We'll invest in equipment in our processing facility and things of that nature. Federal Tax 280E, that's a very harsh tax treatment on cannabis businesses where you can only deduct the cost of goods sold before you pay tax on the balance, and it's got pretty high growth. CBD, it's G&A intensive because you have to hire the people to do the product development and the commercialization side of it. It's high EBITDA, high margins, so think of Bath & Body Works type margins. Free-flowing funds. This is one of the things that's pretty unique about our business compared to competitors, is that we can get the free cash flow off the CBD business and use that money to invest in cannabis businesses if we choose. It's a normal tax rate, and it has a pretty high level of growth. Over the next 5 years, cannabis is going to grow to a $40 billion business off of 2018's $12 billion. But what really gets us excited about this is that if you did the math behind it, it means there'll be about 14 million new customers. And we have a lot of confidence that we know how to connect with customers, get that emotional engagement with them. And those 14 million new customers, they're not going to look like what you might think the stereotype of old stoners, pot shops, et cetera. It's going to look like the people in the room here. When I go to the dispensaries we have in Nevada, it's just amazing the variations of the types of people coming in the door. They do about 1,000 transactions a day, and it's every age band, every gender. It's just amazing how diverse, and it's an interesting observation. Dave Cherry was sharing with me some of the stats he provided yesterday, and we are debating, there's observational versus the fact-based piece. So it'll be interesting to see how those two things come together, but we see what we see in our stores, and we're pretty excited about it because, like I said, it's this group here that hopefully is going to be part of that $14 million new consumer base. CBD business also has a pretty high growth trajectory, and they're predicting it'll get up to $25 billion off of the $5 billion that we did last year, over the next 10 years or so. But, pretty high growth, and we think we can play a major role in that. So that's what we've been doing. So the existing landscape right now in cannabis, it's a fragmented industry. A lot of the larger multi-state operators are acquiring licenses and assets, so there'll be consolidation pretty extensively, I think, over the next several years, because there is a very significant profit model related to the dispensary business. Inexperienced operators. I don't think there's any of our competitors who have truly run stores before. And we've proven not only we can run stores, but we can run stores at scale. You think about Victoria's Secret's Herald Square location. The volume they do that in one day is probably twice what those 2 dispensaries will do. So it takes a lot of operational expertise and execution, and we know we can do that work, and we're excited about getting after that. And then the focus is on product, not the consumer experience. That's what we see in our competitors right now. A lot of these dispensaries, they want a license in a state, opened it up, and because it was legal cannabis, they had everyone coming into the stores. But as more states come on board with legal, as states expand the number of licenses they have through awards, there's going to be more competition, and we have a lot of confidence that we can compete against anybody. We've done it for years in our prior lives. So I don't know how many people have been in a dispensary in the room here, but this is what a lot of dispensaries look like right now. It's a jewelry store case display. There's a bud tender standing behind the counter. You typically have to wait in line to get checked in, because you have to check to make sure people are legal to go in the store. And a lot of them, then you have to wait in line to go through a locked door into the dispensary, and they're pretty small. It's hard to see the product, the pricing. If you're new to it, it can be very intimidating because it's a pot shop. They're selling dope in here, and people are intimidated by that. So it's not the best customer experience you can imagine. Here's a picture of Planet 13. This is their new store in Las Vegas, about a mile and a half off the Strip up north, and it looks great. They did a terrific job with the aesthetics of the store. Looks very similar to some of what MedMen is doing in their new store designs. And I've been in here several times, and it looks great. They've got a lot of traffic, but where they missed the mark is on navigation and pricing. They make it hard for the consumer. You can see the tables there. The tables have similar product, and all the different tables mixed in with other product, and it's challenging because not all the product has prices on it. You're trying to remember what you just saw 2 tables earlier, and it's just an interesting experience because they're more focused on showcasing what they have instead of on the customer journey into the store. Now, this is a rendering of one of our stores in Las Vegas, and on the upper left, you can see how the store is laid out. We only have 3 tables in the store, because these stores are showcases. You can't pile product high and deep on tables. You can't put a lot of depth behind what you have. So we use the tables to do feature products. We'll do feature brands. We'll do some storytelling. But we're really using the walls, so you can see the lower left, where we try to make it easy for somebody who walks in. If they wanted flour, they know where to go. If they want disposables and cartridges or edibles, they know where to go in the store. And we've spent a lot of time over the last few months working on the navigation of the store, what the customer experiences as they walk through, and make certain that pricing is right in front of them. So if it's a barrier, we try to remove it, and at least they know what they're looking at in the store. So our cannabis dispensaries, we have a very deliberate approach to it. And when I talk about deliberate, we spend a lot of time going through the customer flow. So we want to know how people are coming in and out of the store, what's the most important areas of the store, and that we give that the right amount of attention. Labor management and staffing, the 2 dispensaries we acquired, they were some of the highest productivity dispensaries that we saw in all the businesses we visited, but they still didn't, and they did a lot of things really well right out of the gate. That's one of the reasons we bought them, but we could see opportunities to help them be more efficient. Labor scheduling and management was certainly one of them. Assortment architecture, when we talk about that, everybody's eyes just kind of glaze over, but it's just some of the simple points. Narrowing the assortment so that we can be in stock. Some of the assortments in the stores, they'll have 250 strains of cannabis that you can purchase, but how can you ever sort through 250 different strains, especially if you're new to it? You don't know exactly what you're looking for, and if you're self-shopping, it'd take you half a day to do it. So we've narrowed the assortment in our store. We have about 30 strains at any point in time that we offer to consumers. make it easy for them to understand what they want, what the price is, they can get it and get out. Store navigation, you just saw on the previous slide, some of the things that we're highlighting, just calling things out on the wall. We have 3 price points for our flower product in the store. A lot of dispensaries I've been in, every single thing is a different price, and it's just all over the board and can be a little bit confusing. And we want to drive loyalty to the store. So the end result of that for us is high productivity, like I said, about $15,000 a square foot in the 2 dispensaries we're running. Loyalty, they have a lot of repeat customers. These 2 stores in Las Vegas, they're probably a 15-20 minute Uber ride from the Strip. So they're out in the suburbs, and as they track the consumers in the store, it's something like 86% are from a 5-mile radius of the store. Most of them are a 2 to 3 mile radius from the store, and there's only maybe 10% that are from out of state. So they've got a lot of loyalty built up between the store associates who are working with the consumers on the selling floor, and we think that's a model that can be repeated as we open up more and more stores. We can drive positive comp sales, it's good margin, good profit. So in CBD, the existing landscape, it's again fragmented. There's tons of interest in businesses, brands, CPG companies to get involved in the CBD industry. So there's a lot of people who are exploring it. Right now, it's pretty fragmented. It's going to be interesting to see in a couple of years, where things start to sort out. Inconsistent formulations, with a small group that started getting into the CBD product, we do a lot of competitive patterning. So we get all of their product, we put it through testing, and it's inconsistent formulations, and we're really proud of the consistency that we can bring to the product we've developed. It's high efficacy, has great fragrances, it feels good on the skin. We've done some blind testing with some of our products against national brands that are not CBD infused, and we've scored equal to, or in one case, we were preferred 3 times a big brand name in our topical lotions. So we're very proud of the energy we put behind bringing a quality product to the table. Prices tend to be high. They have limited assortments, and we haven't seen anybody yet get to meaningful scale, and we'll see how that shakes out. This slide is just intended, so the chart on the right, when we opened up our first mall kiosk and our e-commerce site in February, we had 60 SKUs of our topical 7 cents product in the stores and online February 7th. If you added up our 4 major competitors, they only have 23 topicals. So we saw a big opportunity to lean pretty aggressively into the topical business, and you can see the pricing, we're half the price of what our competitors are for the same product. It's high margins, like I said, think of BBW. It's not a focus of the FDA. So when Trump signed the Farm Act in December, the FDA hit send the next day to just remind people that they regulate anything that you ingest. So at that point, we just stopped any development work we were doing on edibles or tinctures or anything that you'd put in your mouth, because we want to stay on the correct side of the FDA, and we don't want to run into any issues with them shutting down a kiosk or something of that nature. So topicals is where our focus is right now. And personal care business is growing. I think you can see Bath & Body Works results over the last several quarters. It's pretty strong. So when we talk about our approach to CBD, up on the upper left is one of our mall kiosks. They're 10 by 20. They're about 9 feet high. You can walk in, as you see the bottom left, you can walk into them so you can shop inside, you can shop outside. And the fixturing, I think, is at level par, if not better, with some of the better department stores' beauty fixtures and presentations in the store. So we have a lot of energy behind getting to that 280 mall shops or mall kiosks by the end of the year, because we think that'll do a couple of things. It'll drive people to our website because there's a lot of repeat purchase. The product they buy might last 3 to 5 weeks. It's an easy way to go online and replenish it, but it also gets our name in front of, millions and millions of eyeballs who are walking through these different malls at any point in time. And a couple months ago, we just started doing a more aggressive mall marketing approach with some banners, door clings, things of that nature, just to draw traffic into our kiosks. The conversion rate, so right now, the store owners, shop owners, they are manually counting people who are coming up to the kiosk. And we've been consistently averaging about a 60% conversion rate with that traffic. So we're really excited about the opportunity that we see in the mall kiosk for a lot of brand building, a lot of awareness. And to hit on our approach to CBD, I think we've hit some of these. It's high margin. CBD personal care is predicted to become 15% of the skincare market in 10 years. So that's the $25 billion you saw earlier against an estimated $165 billion of global skincare products. The search trends have been going crazy. CBD's been getting a lot of press, a lot of notoriety. You can see that happening. And then, topicals aren't part of our business model, and until the FDA says it's okay, we're cool with that. We're going to do just fine with the topicals. And we've got a lot of SKUs, great pricing. So that is the GGB story. Took a little bit longer to kind of rush through it, but I hope that paints a picture, where we were a year ago, what we've done since then, how we've done it with the talent base in Columbus and consulting partnerships, and then where we see ourselves going forward. We're excited about what we've accomplished. We're even more excited about the opportunities ahead, and being in Columbus allowed us to jumpstart that growth trajectory that we're on. So I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.